All right, what's up, guys? Welcome back to another episode of the Living the Dream podcast. Today on the show, we have Melissa Rangel, who is the CEO of HoneyFitDrip. Melissa, how you doing?
I'm doing great, doing great.
Awesome. We're glad to have you, and we like to jump right in. So if you could start with telling us a little bit about yourself and what you like to do for fun, that'd be great.
Yeah. Okay. So myself, fun. I definitely love to have myself some fun. I would say the number one thing I like to do is just jam out to certain type of music. So I like EDM music. So I like to go out to raves when I do find them. I like to just good music, good people, and drinking a lot of red wine.
Yeah, I love
Yeah.
it. I love
Yeah.
it. Tell us a little bit more about HoneyFitDrip and what that entails.
Yeah, no, this is my passion project for sure. So it started out with my love for fitness, first of all, and like how it transformed my life. So I was in a place where I was kind of like feeling lost myself, kind of like not knowing what to do. I had looked into personal training during that time a while back, but I think when I came to this road here, I kind of decided to just get certified and see where that took me. And then fast forward a few months later, I think it was 2020. Fast forward a few months later, I ended up hiring an online business coach, and he basically, I just kind of took the plunge. Honestly, I was looking at it and I was like, okay, like I like the idea of like working from home and like you're still able to give that one-on-one attention to clients. So that's where I kind of got started with that, and then I kind of just like started my whole platform online, and just like basically did everything he taught us, and I started engaging with people, and I really kind of targeted down my target. I guess I found my target audience with that, and it was basically I wanted to help the person. I wanted to help women that struggle to lose weight. So like that was like what I wanted to do, just because these women are typically women that have tried their whole lives to. They've tried supplements, they've tried appetite suppressants, they've tried keto diets, so many different diets, and they're kind of just at a point where they're frustrated and they kind of like like it's like the last draw for them usually when I talk to them. And that really just motivated me, because I was like, man, if I could just get in the room with these women, like I could help them. So I just saw the need, and I just saw myself fitting so perfectly into that role. Just because I consider myself like a motivator, like an encourager, like I do that for myself and for everyone around me. So for now, being in a place where people can pay me to do that, it's awesome. Like first of all, like to get paid to do what you're good at, but also to like make an impact and like really help these women like transform their lives. That's where that all stemmed from. And then as soon as I started helping women like one by one, I started seeing like a part of like my story too, like when I started, like I kind of saw like that in them. And it made me want to like do it more, and like it just kind of started growing, and yeah, it went from there. That's where I'm at now.
Absolutely. I love that. So your focus is really helping women who have really struggled to lose weight and have kind of tried everything. What are some of the things you um, do with them to kind of help them do that? And what are some of the most common mental barriers you see clients kind of go through?
Yeah,
Or you
so
yourself on your own journey?
yeah, I guess to start with how like the process of how this works is it's broken down. I've broken it down into a 6-month program. So we work together for about 24 weeks, and we take them through basically like the foundations of bodybuilding. Like start them off with well, depending on how many workouts they can commit to a week. We give them either a 3-day split, 4-day, 5-day, depending on that, and we start them out with just very basic exercises and really focus on training intensity, the whole aspect when it comes to the fitness. And they access all of their workouts through a fitness app called Trainerize, which is widely known in the industry. So they access all their workouts there. It's kind of like a plug and play there. And then I'm able to give them weekly feedback through like a video chat like this. And then along with that, I support them throughout the week with more additional accountability. So we meet on Wednesday nights, and we all my clients like kind of regroup together, and we kind of go through different topics. So they're constantly getting nurtured throughout the whole 6 months together. And then when it comes to the nutrition side of it, I help them with their macronutrient intake. Depending on if it's a client that has been under eating, then we start them out, with a little bit higher calories. We get them to a healthy level to where we can like really start that weight loss process. So it's very customized. Like it all has to do with their diet history, their exercise limitations, all of that. So it's really customized approach when it comes to that. I did go a little bit into detail there. And what was the other question about?
Most common mental barriers that you see
Okay,
clients hit.
in my clients.
Clients or yourself, whatever you can, like in the
Okay.
process of that kind of weight loss, what are some of the most common?
Yeah, clients for sure. I would say um, they can feel I would say the level of compliance is a big thing. So like if like say there's a week where they don't hit their macros or they don't get their workouts in, that's usually kind of something going on with themselves and kind of just like failing to like structure out the routine. So I would say like I guess like a barrier from that is kind of just like I wouldn't say if I guess like if I can summarize it to mental barrier, um, I guess it would just be like not taking the time to structure out their weeks. And
So
that's
it's like
something.
kind of a clarity on the programming and stuff that they need to
Yeah,
do.
yeah. Yeah, I would say that. And in the beginning too, because everyone starts out with like finding their flow. So I notice like if I see a trend of like somebody's not doing something, it's usually like yeah, lack of clarity for sure. Yeah, I would say that. I couldn't really like pinpoint it, but definitely that.
Yeah, yeah, no, I get that. I think that's
And
huge.
I think also just being new to it too. They're like, they're figuring out where to put the pieces into their life. And then that's where it kind of molds into a customized approach because then they see what works for them based off of like the principles that they're given there.
Yeah, yeah, absolutely. I love that. And I think it's really important whenever you're taking on anything new, it can be intimidating and you can have that lack of confidence going into it, and a lack of clarity kind of feeds that lack of confidence. Like when you don't know what to do and you already weren't kind of confident in the situation because you've struggled a lot, it can kind of compound the stress. And so when a coach like yourself comes in, I do this a lot, not with like losing weight or health and fitness, but I do it a lot with kind of like just setting goals and achieving, living the dream. The name of the podcast, I help people
Yeah.
do that. And one of the first things I do is like, well, what is your dream? Like, let's get clear on it, and let's get clear on the action steps you need to take and who you need to meet to take you there. So I love that you're doing that for women who have struggled to lose weight their whole life.
Yeah, and that was the one I was trying to touch on. I kind of had a brain fart there, but definitely like the lack of confidence. I guess like a little bit of a context to the situation. There's this one client I have, and so I require my clients to all submit training videos for their week. So like they submit 2 videos a week, and I noticed that she wasn't like submitting them. So I was like, okay, like I was following up with her, and she's like, oh, I'll get it next week. I'll get it next week. So I finally like got her on a call and like we kind of like talked about it. And she said, honestly, like I'm a little scared to kind of like film myself. Like it was like she was feeling insecure in the gym with all the guys.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and then I heard it from her, and then I heard it from another one of my clients. But I do see that. I mean, they find it, like they find the confidence to do it eventually. But it's always a process. Like it's funny because I can never pinpoint when it's going to happen. But as long as they're sticking to everything, they're showing up to everything. Like the confidence does come. So I have noticed that too. So that the lack of confidence and clarity prevents them sometimes with being like their if it affects their level of compliance like in their program.
I love it. I love
Yeah,
it.
for sure.
Awesome. Well, tell us a little bit more about your dreams and goals. Really, just your vision for your life and your business.
Okay, so life, I think it changes, but I think lately I've been definitely sitting back and dreaming a lot, especially with this new transition, being in a new city. It's kind of just opened up a bunch. It's opened up mental doors, I would say. Maybe like to be like, okay, like what else can I kind of dream for here? So I would say life for sure. I think I just want to have this level of freedom, and by freedom, I mean like financial freedom, time, freedom in my time, like where I can like choose when I want to work, freedom in where I live, like that none of that has kind of like a barrier. So I definitely see my life because I can't really like say like what it is, but I do know like the feeling there. And I guess that kind of helps me figure out the what, but I did want to dial down first on like what do I want it to feel like type of thing. So I definitely like the common thing that I've been noticing lately is that level of freedom in my life there. And then from that, that that comes, I would say like like the game plan there comes through like my coaching business, like the way that I have designed it. It's an online approach, so like I can pretty much be everywhere. I have that part covered, but of course, like the systems and all of that's gonna play a role with like the income that happens there. So I would say it's definitely I totally see it happening with my coaching business. And I would say for that, it also maybe connected with life goal. I think I want to relocate to the city of Miami, just because it sounds really really awesome. There's a strong fitness community there, and it would be something different too. So I would say like those are kind of like what I'm thinking there. And obviously like the goal of the coaching business is taking a little while, but I do see the vision. So it helps when I take a step back to kind of like see where am I even going? And then from there, figure out, okay, what steps and moves do I need to make sure that we get there?
Yeah, yeah, absolutely. I love that. So ultimate goal is freedom.
Yeah.
Vehicle for that is the coaching business, and the ideal location is Miami.
Yeah. Right now, yes. For sure. I think the location might change, but I think I don't know, it's been on my radar for a while. And yeah, I would say for sure right now that's the location.
I will say that you look like you're from Miami,
Oh, that's such
which
a good compliment. Oh, I'm
yeah,
so happy.
which I
It's
wouldn't
fine.
I wouldn't have been able to describe a person who looks like they're from Miami until like I've seen you now, and I'm like, you look
That's
like you belong in
interesting.
Miami.
That's the affirmation I needed. That's
Absolutely.
awesome.
There we go. There we
It's a
go.
cool place, honestly.
It is. It is. I'll have to come visit you when you go there.
Yes, yes. I'm trying to be near the water, so we got to get the income up.
There we go. That is easy enough. That is easy enough
Right.
for sure. Well, awesome. If there were one or two people that you could meet right now, and this could be a specific person or a type of person that would really help you take the next step towards reaching your income goal so you can have that time freedom, location freedom, and financial freedom, who would they be and how would they do it?
Man, because I mean I've had like a lot of coaches, like business coaches, and that's been awesome. Like I have one right now. But I would say I would want to there's this one girl though that I've been following for a while. She's actually she's a fitness person, a fitness influencer. She's like pretty big. Her name is Hannah Oberg. She just reminds me of myself. Like I feel like we have the same vibe, like her content. She lives in somewhere in the UK. But the reason why I would want to meet her is one, to build that connection and to actually be like friends with people like that are where I want to be type of thing. So I've been like in I guess business relationship with like business coaches, but not actual women who like are there. So like that's what I don't have right now. So I think for that I would definitely want to meet her or somebody like her, and then from there benefit from like that network, like the people that she knows and the people that got her there. I feel like that would definitely benefit me, not even just in the business world but like in the actual like fitness world too, like to grow in my technique, to grow as a coach. I think that those are the people that I want to manifest into my life next. I think that that would be kind of like the next level, and also like I feel like it would bring like that that support that you don't get from like a business coach, like more of like somebody like, hey, like they're on the same level as me type of thing.
Yeah.
I don't know what kind of support that would be, but I guess like your circle in that sense.
No, for sure. You know,
Yeah.
one of the most famous, like, kind of when you're getting into studying success quotes is, show me your five friends and I'll show you your future, right? Like, you're going to be the sum total of the people you hang around, or the average of the people you hang around. So if you're hanging around five billionaires, chances are you're going to be the next billionaire. So it's just really important to always kind of hang out with people who have leveled up, and then provide value to those people, and they'll provide value back, and always be in that mindset. So I love
Yeah.
that.
Yeah. Exactly. Exactly that.
Well, name the most important one or two things that everyday people can do to really help you accomplish your dreams and goals.
um, okay, like people can, like anybody.
Like the people listening to this podcast, your next door neighbor, the old lady walking her dog. Like, what can these people do to really help you
Yeah.
achieve your dreams and goals?
Yeah. So, well, first of all, like if you have anybody that you know that could benefit from my coaching, like anybody that has fallen into that category of somebody that just like can't find a solution, obviously like send them my way. Your loved ones, friends, family, like I'd love to talk to all of them, see if there's a connection there. And also with my content, like my TikTok and my Instagram are my biggest platforms right now. Same username, LifeX Melissa. And yeah, so if you support those and share my content, that would help to spread more awareness there. Would be cool.
I love it. I love it.
Greatly appreciated.
Sounds good. Well, now we're going to jump into our Thriving Three. And our first question in the Thriving Three is, what is your favorite book, movie, or podcast? Pick one.
Okay, I think it falls under the line of movie. Can it be a show?
Yeah, it can be a show.
Okay, um, it would definitely be Mad Men.
Gotcha.
I don't know if you know that show, but it's basically about a bunch of like business admin in the 1950s, I think. And yeah, that kind of like started my whole like what's it called? I guess fascination with the business world, and just how these like men are so confident and powerful, men and women on the show. Yeah, it just inspires me, honestly. Yeah,
That's
Mad
epic.
Men. It's a
I'm
good
gonna have
one.
to go watch that show because I like
Yeah,
businessy
it's
shows.
so good. Like I literally cried on the last episode. I just got so invested into the characters and how they grew and evolved as people and as like business people, I guess. Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. Have you ever seen Undercover Billionaire?
No, I haven't.
I haven't either, but it's like a bunch of these ultra rich people, you know, hundreds of millions of dollars of net worth or billions of dollars of net worth. They kind of start from zero, kind of have a disguise so people don't recognize them, and they have to build $1 million business in 90 days.
Wow. Is
Yep.
this a show or a movie?
It's a show. It's a show. It has like 3 seasons, maybe.
You definitely check it out. Undercover, right?
Undercover Billionaire.
Okay. That sounds awesome.
Yep.
Yeah, I love stuff that just inspires me, like The Pursuit of Happiness with Will
Oh.
Smith. That's another one. Yeah, sorry, so you only said one, but but
No,
definitely the theme is inspiration for sure.
there
Yeah.
we go. There we go. I love it. And what's one way you like to take care of yourself?
Take care of myself. Definitely get myself to the gym consistently, and also finding time to just like lounge and like be away from work. That's nice to have like a routine at the end of the night where you're just away from the laptop, away from the phone, and that just like really helps me recharge for the next day.
There we go. Yeah, I think that's really important to,
Yeah,
prevent burnout and
yeah.
enjoy other parts of life that
I know.
are just as important.
Exactly.
Cool. Well, what is one action step that you can take right now to meet Hannah Oberg, was her name?
Yeah, yeah, Hannah.
To either meet Hannah or surround yourself with five people who are in the place that you want to be.
Oh, you said what's an action step?
Yep. tomorrow that you can do tomorrow?
Well, I mean, I did move to like a place where there's a lot of people like me here. So kind of just like messaging them on their social media, see if they want to meet for a workout and like see if there's a vibe there. Yeah, because there's a lot of coaches here that are independent and doing what I'm doing. So here in Austin. So maybe reaching out to them would be a good one. And also maybe finding a way to reach out to Hannah would be awesome. She's
Yeah.
definitely a bigger celebrity type influencer, but hey, it's worth a shot, you know.
You know, for every influencer, there's somebody who's in their life that isn't an influencer. That's a lot easier to get to. And if you can impact the life of that person, you may be able to get a really quick intro to um, the famous person. And I want to give an
Yeah.
example of this. Somebody on my podcast, people always come on the podcast, and when I'm like, who's one way that could help you? They're like, Oprah. Like, I mean, it happens like twice a week at least. And I actually had somebody come on. They were like, I would like to meet Oprah. Actually, my aunt talks to Oprah every Thursday night or something of like every weekday. They call once a week, and Oprah calls her aunt. Like her aunt doesn't call Oprah. Oprah calls her aunt, and it was just like there's always somebody in their life who is an extremely normal person, and if you can like impact and add value to that person in a really cool way, one, you get to add value to a person's life, which is always the goal. But
Mhm.
two, you might also get to meet that famous person that you really want to meet. So that's a really
Yeah,
cool concept. And
yeah.
a good book for that is Giftology. It talks
Yeah.
about, yep, Giftology. I've recommended this book so many times on the podcast, but it's a great way to meet people. You give
Yeah.
them a gift that is meaningful to them and has like a personal kind of touch. And if the gift makes them tear up because it's so meaningful and thoughtful, chances are they'll talk to you for 5 minutes, you know?
Wow.
So,
Yeah.
anyway,
Yeah, and then I guess I also for action steps to figure out how I can give value to them as well. So whether that be creating content for them or something, not just go into it like with a what's in it for me mentality is what I want to avoid for sure. Yeah.
yes,
Yeah.
yes, absolutely. This is always an interesting thing. I remember I asked somebody this on the podcast earlier. I think I asked Bob Burke this actually. Um, but what do you think are some ways that you can give value to people um, who like seemingly kind of have their system set up, are financially set, like what are some ways the common person can add value? Let's brainstorm here for a second. You don't have to have any because this is kind of a put you on the spot question.
Yeah, it's hard. Like I've honestly been I've sat with this question a while, like a couple months ago. One of my mentors had said that because he was like, he did a video on how do I get into like the circle of like the millionaires. And then one was first you had to pay your way to them, like with the coaching mentor. And then two was like figure out what you can do to like give value. And he talked about this guy that came in and he didn't even like he basically like pitched him basically he was like hey I saw your website and I think that I can do a better job, would you let me have a shot at it, and like he did it and it ended up being really good, and Xander like was like yeah like so like that was the connection there, and like this guy didn't have to pay him, like he offered to do it for free. So that ever since I heard that story, like I just like I can't think of what I could do. I don't know. Like it's just like it's like been the stump. But that I think maybe that's why I'm like hesitating to reach out to people, because I don't want to be like I want to know what I offer, or what I can offer. So yeah, that's been a question I've had.
Yeah, that's really key. That's actually I know Russell Brunson kind of talks about this. He talks about how his podcast got really big and his platform is his value add to people. Like if you can get the attention of millions of people, which obviously we can't all do that, but Russell Brunson can, he became an ordinary guy that was then talking to like Tony Robbins because he had a platform and he had an audience, right?
Yeah.
So that's one thing. If you can get people's attention, you can corral people's attention. You can pay your way in. I think you can also provide a service if you have a specialized skill and you see that they're lacking in that. You can provide that service for free, and that's a huge value add. I think another thing is you have attention, but you also have like your network. If you can build your network and figure out kind of what they're struggling with, and you have a person who has a solution to that problem and makes it really convenient for them, I think that's also really key. Another interesting one
Yeah.
that this might be pushing your luck, but challenge them, like challenge their mindset because they're human too.
Yeah.
So figure out where they are like limiting themselves in their life and ask them a question that intrigues them. Because I feel like you can provide value there in the sense that like it's not financial,
Yeah.
but if it's helping them transcend a limit, I mean that could have much greater implications than a couple $1,000s. So
Yeah. No, 100%. I gotta think about that for sure.
yeah. So I think some like really proactive stuff is like come up with really good questions that kind of affect every human being that most people don't think of, and then do some research on people and craft your question to kind of their scenario, or get a really good network.
Yeah.
One of
Okay,
those two.
cool.
But
Yeah.
I'm trying to grow the network with the podcast because I was struggling with the same question. I was like, okay, what's my value add to these really successful people? I'm like, my podcast is honestly pretty cool now. Like I had Bob Berg on the podcast, which I think is so awesome. I was so shocked when he came on. But
I
anyway,
actually don't know who that is. I feel like I've heard of him.
he's the author of The Go Giver.
Okay. I actually don't know that book. Is it a
It's
book?
yeah, it's so I mean I guess he's not that famous if you don't know him, but I thought he was real. It's like he's a best-selling author. The Go Giver is like a really kind of it's just a good sales book, a good business book. It's
Oh,
business
okay. Yeah.
parable, and it was just wild to me that I was like, okay, I'm reading this man's book and I'm loving it. It's changing my life. And then I had him on my podcast. Like that's what blew my mind. I was like, okay,
Okay. Yeah.
best-selling author, so far removed from me, but now he's on my podcast. I'm having a 45-minute conversation with him. I was like,
That's awesome.
so cool, so
Yeah, I
cool.
gotta look into him for sure.
Yeah, no, you should read the book.
Sounds familiar. Okay. Yeah, the book for sure.
Yeah, let me know what you think about the book when
Okay.
you read it. Okay, well, we have one last question for you, and it's going to require a bit of pretext. So, you know how there are people on the planet who have a really fixed mindset? They're not willing to accept help and they're not willing to accept change. Sometimes they'll live their whole life like that, and sometimes they'll die like that, unfortunately. Other times, they'll make that switch to more of a growth mindset, willing to accept help and willing to accept change. In your opinion, what is the catalyst that causes that change?
Honestly, pressure.
Yeah.
Definitely pressure. Because I mean, yeah, like I think that life will just like God, the universe, whatever you want to call it, like there's just like pressure that like will just break somebody. And like it's either they like see themselves like for who they are. And I think that pressure is what leads to change. Like pressure leads to change. Yeah, because that's what started my business. Like out of like I had lost my job because of COVID. So like, but I know that there were people though that didn't choose change like I did. So
Mhm.
I think at the end of the day, you're gonna have a choice, but it comes 100% from pressure. So like I do, like anybody that's listening, like if they've just been in a situation where they feel the pressure, you're always gonna have a choice. You can either just like let yourself kind of die and just be in that and like wither away with whatever that looks like, or you can choose to like rise from the ashes. But regardless, change is always I mean, I believe it to 100%. Like it's always going to come from pressure for sure.
Yeah, yeah, absolutely. I love that. Eric Thomas used to always say that diamonds aren't formed without pressure. And so I really like that. Like the
Yeah.
pressure in
Yeah.
life is kind of
That's been my theme lately for sure.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah.
I love it. It's molding
Yeah.
you, you know.
Yeah. Exactly.
Awesome. Well, Melissa, thank you so much for coming on the show.
Yes, thank you so much for having me.
Yeah. Is there anything else you want to chat about before we sign off?
Uh no, I think we touched on a couple points. Definitely need to look into the stuff that you mentioned here. Yeah, no, I think we're good here.
Awesome. Awesome. Sounds good. Well, guys, thank you for listening to the show. If you loved what Melissa had to say, you loved her energy, you loved her business, make sure to follow up with her, send her some referrals, share her content, like her content, interact with her on social media. All of that will be in the show notes. As we always ask, send this podcast to 1 to 3 people you know need to hear this message. Shoot us a 5-star review on iTunes, and we're out.